Well then, if you're like me, you went to bed early because the Blue Jays gave you no reason to celebrate Game 5 between the Mariners and them at T-Mobile Park. It ended in heartbreak for the Blue Jays in Seattle last night.
2-2 again. Hit in the air to right and deep. And it is a grand slam for
It was tough. It was tough. The Jays were leading by a run in the 8th. It was Little out there instead of Jeff Hoffman or Sir Anthony Dominguez. Led to a bases loaded situation, and then that grand slam by Eugenio Suarez. Seattle, they win one at home in the ALCS 6-2. They have a 3-2 series lead. Game 6. They're all must-win for the Jays, but this one is literally a must-win at the Rogers Center Sunday night. Of course, everyone understandably disappointed, including Little there, the pitcher. They thought they could maybe win 3 straight in the Pacific Northwest. Not meant to be. For more, we're joined by Andrew Zuber, co-host of the Less Than Jays podcast. Thanks for joining us here live on CP24. I'm sure you have felt this. I don't know. This is the first time I've watched sports where myself, X, Twitter, even though it's not really a real place, the color commentators and the studio analysts, all in real time. When they saw Little out there warming up in the bullpen, they're like, what is going on? This should not be the situation. And then it happened, and then the disaster unfolded in the 8th.
Yes, sometimes the believable does happen. It is pretty rough. I think group chats, and as you said, X and anybody that's watched this team for the last month and a half, I think some fear comes out as Brendan Little has struggled for the last month. The lefty turning around a pair of switch hitters in that event with Cal Raleigh and Jorge Polanco. Raleigh, of course, hitting the home run, and then Polanco walking. It is very similar to what happened in Game 1 of this series. Yeah, it was unfortunately the worst case scenario, and the fear and the pessimism that creeps in these situations. This was unfortunately exactly, I think, what a lot of people feared might happen in that spot.
So, I don't know. This is the second time that Kevin Gausman has seemingly a wasted start with the manager getting cute. That's the word that we're seeing out there. I'm talking to our control room and everybody who's within earshot of me thinking, okay, he got that out of the way. He says, everyone's available for Game 6. Obviously, Trey Savage is going to be starting. Gausman says he's going to be cleated up, ready to go. Do you think now they're just going to, play the hits, basically, to try to get this do-or-die game end in their favor Sunday night?
For sure, it's all hands on deck. The good thing, I suppose, about the last couple games is the recipe for what it looks like when they win and what it looks like when they lose is very clear. The recipe for the wins is the bottom of the lineup getting hits, them having the offense drive things. The problem with this team throughout the course of the year, and as reared its ugly head last night, is these high leverage close games. The bullpen does not quite have the confidence that you'd like. Brendan Little, we talked already, there's a lot of fear in that. Jeff Hoffman has been very home run prone. Sir Anthony Dominguez is the one who gave up the grand slam. There is not a ton of guys at the back end of that bullpen that there is a ton of faith in. So it would have been watching through the fingers no matter what happened here. Little, unfortunately, last night bears the brunt of it. But yeah, they're going to have the offense drive things. That is pretty clear. In the 2 wins in Seattle, there was a lot of hits. There was a lot of runs scored. This has been the highest scoring offense in the playoffs this year and was one of the best offenses in the entire league. So you lean on you, Savage. You hope for a repeat of the ALDS performance against the Yankees, but ultimately they're going to live and die by how many runs they score here. They only scored 2 runs last night. That proved to not be enough, even though going into the 8th, it looked like it might have been. They're going to have to put up some crooked numbers to really pull away from Seattle and have a chance in these last 2 games.
Yeah, for sure. And, the situation here, a lot of people are upset with Schneider, Brendan Little, but before that game, there was a situation where it was bases loaded, no outs, and they resulted in no runs for the Blue Jays. And so without George Springer tomorrow, we'll see. They said all tests came back negative on his kneecap, which got obliterated by that ball. Let's say he plays a hockey player, gets it all good to go. As you can see, it just ricochet off his patella. Like, he's 36, he's younger than me, but I'm in pain just looking at that. But do you have faith that this offense, which has produced throughout the playoffs, as you mentioned, can execute more runs so we don't have to sweat out these, one-run games, the 8th and 9th? Because we still don't know who Seattle's putting out there tomorrow night. But you have to imagine this team is fired up for George, want to buoy Brendan Little. And then also, did we already forget the Mad Max start, how fired up everybody was after that? Like, you would think in front of a home crowd, that'd be enough to try to get things on offensively.
Yeah, the last 3 games, I think, alone are enough to prove to you that momentum is only as good as the next game starter, right? That is sort of the cliche that gets thrown out there. But heading into game 1, the momentum was all the Blue Jays because Seattle was coming off of a cross-country trip in 15 innings, and they were tired, yada, yada. They won both games. And then it was the Jays are down 2-0 and now going onto the road for 3. They have no momentum. And all of a sudden, after 4 games, the Jays had all the momentum, and it was Seattle has to fight to survive at home. So this series alone has shown you that momentum really only takes you into the end of the game you're currently playing. Everything resets. It's 0-0 every single game. The Blue Jays, as they have said post-game, have won 2 games in a row, an awful lot this year. So there is plenty of reason for optimism. And if you need something to get you going, I would look no further than Vladimir Guerrero Jr. As he has gone, so has the team gone. He has been great in wins and a little bit quiet in the losses. Not that everything falls on him, but everything moves a little bit easier when he is being dangerous in the lineup. Seattle walked him twice last night in any sort of leverage. I expect that to continue. That means it's going to be Springer, it's going to be Lucas, it's going to be Dalton Varsho, it's going to be Addison Barger, or the bottom of the lineup. There's a lot of guys that may have to be called on to contribute. But as you said, it's all hands on deck. Everybody cleated up and ready to go. They are going to pull out every single trick they have left in the bag to get themselves to the World Series if they can.
Yeah, for sure. Empty the clip, as Kyle Lowry said during their 2019 run, because you're going to be taking on the Dodgers. You might get swept. May as well use everybody. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a Trey Savage, Chris Bassett, Eric Lauer, who I haven't seen yet. Just play all the hits. That's what I'm talking about right now. I think a lot of Blue Jay fans, when they were down 0-2, surprisingly thought, hey, just win 2 or 3 in Seattle, and then bring it back to Toronto, get some home cooking, get at least 1 win at home in the ALCS. But why does it feel like this loss yesterday means that the Blue Jays are eliminated? Why does it feel that way?
Sure. I think that's a great point, is that game you play where it's, if you had told them before game 3, hey, they're coming back to Toronto down 3-2, a lot of people would take in it. Conversely, if you told them at the beginning of the 8th inning they're going to lose this game, people would be very upset. So it's a matter of that expectation changes in real time, depending on what you're seeing in front of you. I think just the nature, a bottom of the 8th rally really takes you from we're winning to we're losing in a really dramatic fashion. You then come up, all of a sudden you have 3 outs to salvage your entire game. It's the swings, it's the drama, and it's a little bit of the predictability. I think those moments where it comes down to a decision can stick with you. Famously, fans of this team, and you, I'm sure, Phil, will remember the Jose Barrios pull a couple of years ago. When you can drill it down into a single moment, it ends up taking on an outsized amount, I think, of influence in your mind. And that single moment where it was Brendan Little jogs out and everybody across the country is suddenly saying, I don't like this move, it ends up taking on a little bit bigger of a feeling than maybe it should have in the moment. So they're not eliminated. Every game starts 0-0. All they got to do is win 2 games at home. But it sure did feel last night. I know you said you went to bed early. Must be nice. I was up late, lamenting the loss and diving fully into the pain of it all. So we wake up refreshed. They fly across the country. It's home cooking, as you said, Sunday, and just trying to force another game on Monday night.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, get to Toronto, which I'm sure they are already. Get a shawarma, go to Koreatown, do whatever you got to do. Your little personal phase of the Blue Jays. Luckily, they're not us. We're still worrying about it. Hopefully, they've moved on. I think they're good at that. And get after it Sunday night. All right, Andrew Zuber, co-host, the Less Than Jays podcast. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, Phil. Anytime.
Of course.